The following video is brought to you by the guys at the Wrecking and Racing Podcast, a NASCAR podcast made by the fans for the fans. Check them out at www.wreckingandracing.com, facebook.com/wreckingandracing, and Twitter at Wrecking and Racing. Hello again, ladies and gentlemen. Saka here, and welcome back to another episode of NASCAR Racing 2003 season, the 2019 mod. And we are here at Texas. Brandon is on the pole, fresh off of that win last week at Martinsville with that dominating performance. He's trying to win 2 in a row, which would be fine with us points-wise speaking, because that means that a third brand new chase winner would be guaranteed in, as well as Brandon, leaving 2 spots open for points. And if we finish solid after this race, we will be mathematically guaranteed by points. So we could get ourselves into the Final Four after this race. Brandon's already got a spot. We're looking for 34 laps here, and green flag is out. Good launch. Brandon will take that inside line. Brad Keselowski and Kyle Busch right behind us in row 2, the chase battlers as well. And Brad really needs a good run here at Texas after that mishap in Martinsville where he got his front clip completely cleaned off. Brad looks to the inside. We're going to drive it in a bit, give him the bottom just in case he's feeling froggy, but pick up the gas and drive to the outside. And Brandon will lead lap 1, and we've cleared third place by a little bit. Laps should click by very quickly here at Texas, and we will be pitting at about the halfway mark. Car really loose in, as you saw me correct, and Brandon scraping just a bit through the first and second turns as we rocket down the back straightaway, and we maintain our gap over Keselowski. Looks like they're going side by side behind them, and right now Hamlin needs a good run, Blaney needs a good run, and Ricky Stenhouse Jr. needs a really good run after Martinsville. But us, we just need to mind our P's and Q's. Finish strong, top 10 would be fine for our point situation. And yeah, they're single filed out to about 6th or 7th place. And it's probably the draw distance, but I can't see anyone behind that. It looked like Kyle Larson back there in about 6th or 7th place. And Brandon's still showing the way. I'm thinking 4 tires when we come down to pit road. We will need to pit. Everyone will need to come down 1 time, and I think 4 tires is the way to go with this loose race car. We're really scrubbing the tires getting into turn 1 and turn 3, so we'll probably take the safe bet and take 4 tires. The AI might take 2 depending on their strategy, and really loose going into turn 3. Hard to get the power down for sure. That's why we need 4 tires for sure, but Brandon's still holding a decent gap on us. We'll try to close that gap when we come down pit road, but Texas pit road entry is very slick and very tricky. The last couple of years, I've actually done a flying 360 coming down on pit road, and I've got nightmares of that place, so we'll have to be extremely careful if we come down under green flag conditions for sure. We gained a little bit on Brandon there going into turn 3. I don't know how his car is faring at this point of the race, but we should be nearing the 1/3 mark as of now. And we're stretching out the gap. Brad is still holding 3rd. Looks like Kyle Busch still in 4th, and then a big gap back to 5th, 6th, and 7th place. So lap traffic may actually be a thing here. We're laying down some pretty consistent quick laps. So if 3rd and 4th place are that slow, I would struggle to imagine how off the pace 28th, 29th will be. And then if we can nail our pit road entry, we'll pick up some time as well on those guys, but it's just going to come down to how accurate we are. And that was a good turn 1 and 2 for us, getting that pull off of Brandon going into turn 3. Brandon's better in turn 3 for sure. He can hug that bottom a little bit better, so we have to get to the power hopefully earlier and carry the speed through the dogleg here. Clean and green so far. Let's see if we can close up the gap on Brandon just a bit here in turn 1 and 2. We can get right down to the white line, pick up the gas, and really get grip on the bottom. That's where we're going to make up our time, it looks like. We just have to maintain our gap off of turn 3. Really loose, but the car is starting to come to me. a little bit. It was very loose on new tires, and we'll have to keep that in mind for after pit stops when we have 4 fresh tires on. It's going to be a little bit free until we get some heat built up, and we are definitely leaving Brad and Kyle. It's just amazing how quick the AI cars launch off on new tires, and then after 2 or 3 laps, they just really lay back. I don't know if it is a code where they're trying to save their tires and take just 2 after the pit stops. It would be an interesting experiment to turn off the fuel and tire wear usage and see if they're just as fast for longer, or if they're just being conservative after 4 or 5 laps. Almost out to the wall, didn't touch it though. Temperatures are fine. Brandon's got a wide arc into turn 3. Let's see if we can hook that bottom, get some air on our left front corner. See if we can pivot this car just a skosh. And we're sort of maintaining. I bet if we looked at each other's lap times, we would be within 100th of each other for sure. Definitely within a 10th, because I'm not gaining or really losing speed. Yeah, wider entry for us here. Not ideal, but if we can dime in the corner, sort of drift in fast, get down to the bottom and pick up the gas. Sort of take almost a Bristol or Dover line around turn 3 and 4. But we've got turn 1 and 2 like a dirty shirt. We'll arc it in, roll nice and easy, really catch up to Brandon right there. Yeah, 1 and 2 is our money maker for sure. Let's just not get loose here in turn 3, shall we? A little bit wider entry, getting some air on that right front corner, pinning it down, and we actually had a good set of turn 3 and 4. We'll be challenging for the lead here on the next lap or 2. I feel Brandon really up top, scrapes the wall a bit. We'll hook that white line, see if we can complete the pass off of turn 2. Brandon still to the outside. He'll get that drive off of turn 2 down the back straightaway. We'll see if we can hold the bottom in turn 3 without getting too loose, and indeed we can. So move us to the front. We will take the point. First lap led all day for us. Green flag still out. And with Brandon getting the pole and we finishing in second, that means that if we were to get to pit road, Brandon would have to drive around us. Might be good strategy-wise to keep Brandon behind us for pit stops, although if we pit on different laps, of course, that negates that entire advantage. We just have to maintain 3 and 4, where Brandon has been very strong this race. And looking out the mirror, even if we were to lose to second to Brandon, we're not in danger of losing third in the least bit. I don't know where those guys are. But we'll extend our gap here in turn 1 and 2. Clean air is king here. He sort of gained on us there going down the backstretch. I guess he got a good launch off of 2 and got that pull off of our huge spoilers sticking up in the air. And that's just a product of this package, you know, when the leader gets out in front, second place can hang on as long as no mistakes are made. Yeah, through turn 2, nice and clean. Brandon still maintaining a 1 to 2 car length gap behind. So if we definitely miss turn 3 or we slip up a bit, Brandon will be right there to capitalize. We'll take the outside lane, make him drive to the inside if he wants to pass us. That way we can get that arc into turn 1. And looks like he's peeking out to the right side, getting air on his nose as well. Not seeing any lap cars, which is good. We can just run our race as hard as we can and as hard as our tires will let us here. Should be nearing halfway soon. And Brandon is right there now. He had an excellent turn 3 and 4. Yeah, making that W, wreckingandracing.com podcast, green W, really big in the mirror. And he got a good pickup off of turn 2. He got to the throttle much earlier than us. He's right on our back bumper now. Maybe a little touch, not bad. Going into turn 3, this is where Brandon's been so strong, but we are both going to come down to pit road. We want to be as straight as possible before the downshifts. And nice, Brandon is right there though, but 3,000 in second gear. I think it's actually 3,500. So we can pick up speed just a little bit. The AI choose to stay out. Brett Keselowski will lead them around. Denny Hamlin in second, it looks like, with a interesting battle there for about 9th. Everyone else single filed out, so here we go. Tires and fuel, boys, let's go. Right sides are on, left sides are on the wall. Crew comes around. Both of us are on the left side, Jack on identical. His pit crew may be a touch faster, and in fact, I think he did have a faster pit stop. So we will be back in chase mode. Brandon right in front of us now as we go a lap down. We need this thing to stay green and cycle through the rest of the way. Looks like we have a gap behind Logano here. Brandon will get up into that gap. It looks like Eric Jones coming on the outside with Chase Elliott. I'll give them the high lane so we can run this white line up to speed and we can clear them before they decide to come to pit road, but we should be much, much quicker than these guys on these tires for sure, and we just have to be mindful of anyone coming to pit road. They're going to be hogging the bottom of turn 3 right on the white line. Brandon a little bottleneck behind Logano and Johnson there. We'll get that pull off of Logano and try to fill that spot. And indeed, we can drive it in there. Larson coming to pit road. We will go around to his outside. Harvick is also coming to pit road. Looks like Almirola as well. One car stays out, trying to pin the rest of the field one lap down. And let's make turn 1 and 2 work for us again. Let's see if we can reel in Brandon in turn 1 and 2. We got a decent turn 1 and 2. Ricky Stenhouse Jr. looks like he is playing strategy. He needs all the points he can get after Martinsville, but decides to come in to get his service. That would have been big for Ricky Stenhouse Jr. if the caution came out and he was the leader, trapping all of those guys a lap down, but we will get back on the lead lap and start really picking up spots now. We took 4 tires. If they took 2, they would have a time advantage on us depending on how they got to pit road. But as far as I'm concerned, the battle is between myself and Brandon. We had a massive gap on third, so even if they did take 2 tires, we would be still clear on 4. And yeah, I'm seeing their right sides in the air. Here's cars coming off of pit road. I believe this is us starting to put those lap cars 1 lap down. Starting with Jeffrey Earnhardt there in the Hulu Chevy. We'll be going around the outside for sure. Arc it in there, car kind of loose, kind of free, pitching, catching it, getting it down to the white line. And lap traffic may be a factor as this race unfolds and ends. We've got guys side by side. Landon Castle up there with what looks like Corey LaJoie, but I could not make it out. Passing McDowell and Tift on the bottom. Busher down there. We scrubbed the wall a little bit. Hopefully that doesn't hurt us too bad as we pass Bowman and Reagan. And Brandon will actually get clear off of turn 4. We'll see if we can cut down to the inside of Bowman. Get that pull off of Reagan. Get to the inside. Don't clip the grass. Dale Jr. style. Get down into turn 1. We had a terrible entry, so we won't pick up much speed here on him, as Brandon had a better entry and he's got a pull off the 14 of Clint Boyer. He'll look to the inside. If he cannot complete that pass, if Suarez is in his way, that would be ideal. But take a look at the pack of 6 in front of Suarez. Brandon has to negotiate that traffic with me just 3 or 4 car lengths behind. So if he gets bottlenecked and slowed up in any way, it's our time to pounce. We'll hug this white line. Suarez will give us the bottom. Hopefully we can drive right on by. We'll get the pull maybe off of Ty Dillon. Brandon dive bomb going 3 wide under Dillon and Hemrick. And Bubba gives him the spot. They give Brandon a nice wide berth. And we have to do things the hard way on the dog leg here. See if we can pass Ty Dillon. He's really bottlenecking up. We do have to take to the grass. Get out of the way, Ty. Got things to do. And that was indeed Corey LaJoie. He's right behind Landon Castle. and Matt DiBenedetto now. Looks like Castle is blocking down at the bottom, wanting to go to the inside around DiBenedetto. Can't complete that pass. Brandon is right there on that corner. That will slow him up and reel him back in. So we are getting a massive pull now. If we can nail turns 1 and 2, we'll be right there. Castle concedes, and DiBenedetto sticks to his guns right on the bottom lane, making Brandon fight. He looks to the outside. We've got that pull down the back stretch, and Brandon will look to the inside around DiBenedetto. Now, if he clears DiBenedetto and he comes down, we're going to have to get him on dogleg, just like we have been these other lap cars, where we should get the pull required to go around the 95. And unfortunately, we couldn't capitalize on that lap traffic, and he's got some clear sailing in front of him now. I don't think he'll catch up to Newman. We're just going to have to hope that perhaps he was using up his tires a little bit more than us. Catching those guys in the corners as opposed to us catching them on the straight may prove just a smidgen beneficial. Maybe a tenth or so on the stopwatch. But in hot pursuit mode, arcing it down, getting down to that white line, and making the line work for us that worked before the pit stops. We did reel him in just a little bit. Hopefully this right side damage isn't hurting us. Hopefully the game didn't register that we did tag the wall a skosh. But right on the bottom, power down. I mean, car is good, but so is Brandon's. Right in front of us, equally as good. We're going to have to get the pull off the draft and hook 1 and 2 and hope that's enough to get the job done. We closed the gap just a little bit. Hopefully our miles per hour equals out, because he's going to be picking up speed earlier than us in turn 2, but we've got the line, the shorter way around the racetrack, to sort of close that gap. And in the middle, you know, there's that delta where we're going to be running the same speed, and he may pull away if we are not in the draft. Arc it in. Looks like Brandon is, again, a little bit slower in turns 1 and 2. He's trying to arc it into turn 1 just like we were. Time sort of equaled out, and it looks like William Byron will be coming back to us. So Ryan Newman got around Byron. I don't know if we'll catch Byron. Looking for that white flag, still not in the air, so there is still time. We have to keep this pressure on and make Brandon go as fast as possible to keep the lead, so he does catch up to these lap cars. Good hook on the bottom of turn 1 and 2. We are going to be right there. We carried speed, hit the wall a bit, but going in a straight line. We are less than a car length now. If we can get to him, Brandon's got the win. We can sort of get the bumper into him, but there's the white flag. 1 lap to go. Brandon got a good turn 4. He pulled away from us a little bit. Byron's going to block the bottom, so Brandon is going to be a little bit slower here. If we can carry this speed into turn 3, car stuck. We're right here. Let's see if we can get into his back bumper just a little bit. I'm not going to wreck him, but if we can pick up the throttle into Brandon just a bit, he keeps the car under him, and Brandon will get his second win of this round, and by doing so, guarantees us a spot in the Final Four at Miami, as well as there can only be one more new winner. That is outstanding. So, I believe we put a lot of guys a lap down. We'll wait a minute to get the top 10 as they come back around and this lap traffic funnels through. Whoa, okay, Chris Buescher wasn't happy. So I don't know what Chris Buescher was on about, but I finished the car off for good, but we got second. That's all that matters. So let's take a look at our top 10 finishers and see exactly where they were here. So Brandon was your winner. Myself in second, Denny Hamlin in third, Brad Keselowski fourth, Kyle Busch fifth, sixth, Eric Almirola seventh, Ricky Stenhouse Jr. eighth, Kevin Harvick ninth, Kyle Larson, and rounding out your top 10, the non-chase driver of Eric Jones. Let's take a look at your championship contenders. So we saw Brad Keselowski in fourth. We saw Eric Almirola in sixth. We saw Denny Hamlin in 3rd. Ryan Blaney just finishes outside the top 10 in 11th place. We saw Ricky Stenhouse Jr. finish in 7th. We also saw Kyle Busch run in 5th. We saw Brandon get the win. And of course, you were riding along with me in my 2nd place finish. Let's take a look at that battle on the last lap. We were right behind Brandon on the white flag lap, and we really closed the gap in turn 1. And indeed, we did have right side damage. But we could just see the amount of pickup we got there, and I was full throttle hoping it would stay off the wall, and it did. That allowed us to carry a lot of speed down the backstretch, and just getting into the 3rd turn, we managed to close the gap just a bit, give him a little punt, and he kept it under him and got that W. So let's look at the standings after Texas with Brandon's 2nd win. Of course, he is guaranteed in the Final 4, but I have also cemented my place in the round of 4 because there can only be one more winner, and we are good on points. So if there is a new winner, then it comes down to 1 points position. If myself and Brandon win, it comes down to 3. Actually, well, I mean, 2 points positions. If I win, you know, I was in anyway. But Eric Almirola is your cutoff driver. 3 to the good over Hamlin, 7 to the good over Blaney, 12 over Keselowski, and 27 back to Stenhouse. So Stenhouse is almost in a must-win situation going to Phoenix. Keselowski can possibly point his way in, but the battle is really between Kyle Busch, Eric Almirola, Denny Hamlin, and on and off chance, Ryan Blaney. But 2 spots up for grabs next week. But that will do it for me. Like, share, and subscribe if you are so bold. Thank you so much for tuning in, and I will see you for the next NASCAR Racing 2003 season video when we go to Phoenix. Take care.